Imagine a smartphone camera so powerful it completely changes the way you shoot every photo and video. Samsung is just 7 days away from launching the Galaxy S26 Ultra, and the camera upgrades packed into this phone are nothing short of game-changing. We're looking at 8 major improvements that could put Samsung back on top as the king of Android camera phones. Some benchmark sites might disagree, but for years the Galaxy Ultra series has been the go-to option for Android users who want professional-level photography in their pocket. And with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung is not playing it safe. They're making bold, risky moves that could completely shift the mobile camera landscape. From a radically improved aperture for low-light shots to powerful AI tools that make your photos look professionally edited straight out of the camera, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is shaping up to be a beast. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's break down exactly why the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra might be the camera upgrade you've been waiting for. Let's start with the star of the show, the main camera. Samsung has been using the same 200-megapixel sensor for 3 generations, and honestly, it was starting to feel a bit stale. With the Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung is keeping that 200-megapixel resolution, but they're changing something photographers are going to love. The new 200-megapixel sensor is physically larger than before. A bigger sensor means it can capture more light and more detail in every single shot. But here's where it gets really interesting. Samsung is upgrading the aperture from f1.7 to f1.4. If you're not into camera specs, that might sound like a minor tweak. It's not. Going from f1.7 to f1.4 is a massive jump. A wider aperture allows significantly more light to hit the sensor. In real life, that means brighter images in tough lighting, less motion blur, faster shutter speeds, and background blur that looks more natural and more expensive. Portrait shots will look sharper and more professional, and combined with Samsung's improved image processing, colors should look more natural and less over-processed than before. Now let's move to the ultra-wide camera. The ultra-wide lens is one of the most underrated smartphone features, and Samsung knows that. On the Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung is keeping the same 50-megapixel ultra-wide sensor with an f1.9 aperture and that super-wide 120-degree field of view. You still get a 2.5 sensor 0.7 pixels phase detection autofocus. In other words, on paper, it's identical to the Galaxy S25 Ultra's ultra-wide camera. That's not necessarily a bad thing because the S25 Ultra's ultra-wide was already very good. But it does feel like a missed opportunity for Samsung to really push boundaries here, especially when some competitors are experimenting with even larger ultra-wide sensors. Now let's talk about the telephoto cameras because this is where Samsung is making some very strategic moves. First up, the main telephoto lens. Samsung is upgrading to a 5x optical zoom lens and improving the aperture from f3.4 to f2.8. Again, that means more light entering the lens, which is crucial for telephoto shots. When you zoom in, you naturally get less light, so any improvement here makes a huge difference. With this upgrade, you can expect clearer, cleaner zoom shots, less noise, and less pixelation. Better detail when you're shooting subjects at a distance. Samsung has always been one of the leaders in zoom photography, but this move could give them a real edge in the zoom wars against other flagship phones. The secondary telephoto camera is where things get a little more confusing. Earlier leaks suggested Samsung would jump from a 10-megapixel to a 12-megapixel sensor for the 3x telephoto camera. Newer information hints that Samsung might use a 12-megapixel sensor that still outputs 10-megapixel images. Why would they do that? Most likely, the extra pixels would be used for improved image processing, things like oversampling and noise reduction, while still giving you a 10-megapixel final photo. That could mean sharper, cleaner zoom images without inflating the file size. But until Samsung makes it official, this part of the camera system is still a bit of a mystery. Now here's a change you'll notice every single day, the new 24-megapixel default shooting mode. Right now, Samsung's 200-megapixel cameras usually offer 3 main options: 200-megapixel for maximum detail, 50-megapixel for high quality, 50-megapixel as the default mode. Most people just stick with 12-megapixel because it's faster, more efficient, and takes up less storage. But with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung is reportedly moving to a 24-megapixel default mode following the path Apple already took. This 24-megapixel sweet spot gives you noticeably higher detail than 12-megapixel, smaller file sizes than 50-megapixel, or 200-megapixel faster processing for everyday use. It's a smart move that shows Samsung is thinking about how people actually use their phones in real life, snapping quick photos that still look amazing without destroying their storage. If you live on the front camera, Samsung has something for you as well. The Galaxy S26 Ultra's selfie camera is getting an all-new sensor designed for better image quality and a wider field of view. That means sharper selfies, better low-light performance, and easier group selfies without stretching your arm to the limit. There were rumors that Samsung might adopt a square camera sensor on the front to take on Apple's upcoming iPhone 17 Pro series. That doesn't seem to be happening this year. But even without that, a better sensor and wider view are absolutely welcome upgrades, especially in a world where social media content is more important than ever. Now let's dive into one of the biggest themes of the Galaxy S26 lineup, AI. Samsung has made it crystal clear that AI is going to be a major focus for the Galaxy S26 Ultra, and the camera is getting a huge chunk of that AI power. We're talking about smarter pre- and post-image processing. In simple terms, the phone is going to be much more intelligent about how it detects faces and subjects, adjusts exposure and dynamic range, enhances details and textures, reduces noise, especially in low light. Subject detection and face detection will be more accurate, which means better portrait mode cutouts and more reliable focus tracking. AI-powered pixel enhancement can turn an average shot into something that looks professionally edited, without you ever touching an editing app. All of this happens in the background. You point, shoot, and the Galaxy S26 Ultra handles the rest. 4. Photography enthusiasts and content creators. Samsung is also upgrading the camera assistant plugin with more pro-level controls. You'll see new video softening controls to give your footage a smoother, more cinematic look-enhanced autofocus options for more precise control over what's in focus and what's not. These might sound like small tweaks, but if you create content for YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, those extra controls can help your footage stand out with a more polished, professional look. Now, let's come back to one area where Samsung has usually trailed Apple: low-light performance. Right now, when the lights go down, the iPhone often pulls ahead, producing brighter, clearer night photos with better detail in the shadows. Shadow areas that look dark and muddy on Samsung devices can sometimes look magically illuminated on iPhones. The Galaxy S26 Ultra's new f1.4 main camera aperture could finally change that. That wider aperture lets significantly more light hit the sensor. Combined with the larger sensor size and improved AI processing, this should give brighter night photos cleaner images with less noise, more detail in shadowy areas, and more consistent results in tricky indoor lighting in low-light situations. That extra light can be the difference between a photo you're proud to post and one you immediately delete. And speaking of competition with Apple, the Galaxy S26 Ultra isn't just flexing on the camera, its performance numbers are already looking extremely strong. Recent Geekbench tests show the Galaxy S26 Ultra scoring around 3,761 points in single-core and 11,454 points in multi-core performance. Compared to the iPhone 17 Pro Max with its A19 Pro chip, the S26 Ultra actually pulls ahead in overall performance by about 17.6%. Yes, the iPhone still edges out Samsung in single-core performance by roughly 3.5%, but Samsung absolutely dominates in multi-core power. The iPhone 17 Pro Max scores about 9,741 in multi-core, while the S26 Ultra hits 11,454. What does that mean for you? Tasks like 4K and 8K video editing, heavy multitasking gaming, and real-time AI photo and video processing should feel smoother and faster on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. That extra horsepower is a huge advantage if you shoot and edit content directly on your phone. All of these camera and performance upgrades are building toward the official launch on February 25th in San Francisco. Samsung is clearly positioning the Galaxy S26 Ultra as a complete flagship package. Not just a great camera phone, but a device that excels across performance, photography, and AI.